Our public relations policy is based on attraction rather than promotion. We need to always maintain personal anonymity at the level of press, radio, and films. If there is anyone here who represents a media agency, please contact Mark N. The members of the North Central Indiana area of Narcotics Anonymous welcome you to the 3rd annual We Grow with Love convention. We would like to thank you for joining us in this celebration of recovery. We are deeply grateful to Narcotics Anonymous and find great joy in being able to express our gratitude here with you, our family. In Narcotics Anonymous, we are certain that when we come together to share our lives and our love with each other, a miracle happens. Our recovery takes hard work, courage, and commitment. Those are the things that carry us through as we seek the spiritual growth that comes from working the 12 steps. Never alone, we do this together and for each other, knowing that we need each other because more than anything else, we grow with love. The preface to the basic text begins, "The full fruit of a labor of love lives in the harvest," and that always comes in its right season. For us, our season has come. I've asked a friend to read just for today.
Hi, I'm April, and I'm an addict.
Hi, April.
Just for today, my thoughts will be on my recovery, living and enjoying life without the use of drugs. Just for today, I will have faith in someone in NA who believes in me and wants to help me in my recovery. Just for today, I will have a program. I will try to follow it to the best of my ability. Just for today, through NA, I will try to get a better perspective on my life. Just for today, I will be unafraid. My thoughts will be on my new associations, people who are not using and who have found a new way of life. So as long as I follow that way, I have nothing to fear.
Thanks, April.
Thanks, April. This workshop is called A Part Of, Not Apart From. And our first speaker is Lynn from Detroit.
Hi everybody, my name is Len, I'm an addict. It's nice to be back here at the Indiana convention. I've enjoyed this convention for a number of years now, and I see an awful lot of familiar faces, and it's nice to be kind of back home with them again. So thank you for making me a part of this. You know, on the topic NA, a part of, and not apart from, I can't tell anybody in life what that should mean for them, but through my experiences I can tell you what it has come to mean for me. Being a part of Narcotics Anonymous, first of all, being a part of it to me has meant a feeling of thankfulness, thankful to the men and the women who were here before me, the ones that held the door open, so that when I came to Narcotics Anonymous, there was rooms for me to come to, someplace for me to be a part of, and to someplace to have a chance. Before I come here, I was pretty much hopeless, you know, and now that I have a chance to put change into my life, I have a new direction that I can look at, you know. I just jotted down some different things that being a part of and not apart from has meant to me. It's been a chance for me to be accepted at a level, like at the group level, you know, where I came in and I started to be a part of being a coffee maker. Hearing that person for the very first time call me by my first name, you know, and knowing that I was actually a part of something, even though I had fear of being a part of, you know, but people actually calling me by my first name, and that was a great feeling and a great start for me, you know. And if I hadn't been starting to become a part of and staying off to the side, I would have never experienced that at early recovery, you know, and I would have been held back and not started enjoying this recovery, you know. It's been a chance to be helped out from the hell that I was living in, where I didn't even know, you know, how to get out of that living hell. When I'm apart from, I'm dying of loneliness. you know, but when I'm a part of, I have an opportunity to say I need you. You know, if I'm not part of this family, I can't come to you and I can't say I need you and I need help, you know. So being a part of has really been an awfully important thing for me to be able to say that I need you, and it's been a growing part for me there. Being a part of has allowed me to love my God openly, without peer pressure, you know, where before I might think, God, I love you, God, I need you, but today I can start my mornings off on my knees in the presence of my wife, of my children. I can ask at meal times before we eat to have a moment to give thanks to my higher power for the meal that's before us and for the hands that have prepared it openly and with a love that I wasn't able to express when I wasn't a part of this fellowship, you know. It's also given me an opportunity by becoming a part of rather than apart from, the opportunity to love my children, my wife, other family members, and friends with an unconditional love and not expect something back in return. An opportunity to love them just for what they are and not for what they're doing. Just for them being there and not for what they've brought there. Where before that was a real alien feeling to me to be able to express those things because I wasn't part of, you know. By being a part of rather than apart from, I've had a chance to feel my feelings, to smile when I want to smile, and to cry when I want to cry. I have a chance today to be there for friends and for family when they need to cry. And that's a warm feeling. I think that's been the warmest feeling that I've had since I've come into this fellowship, is to be able to listen to somebody else cry and to know how they feel and to have that empathy. You know, and it was all given to me as a growth from being a part of, you know. It also has given me an opportunity to have pride in myself and meaning. If I'm not a part of something, I'm not able to share. I'm not able to give to the newcomer what was so freely given to me. At my very first meeting, when I was that man at the chair nearest the door, at the table nearest the door, because I didn't want to be there, and I wanted to disqualify you people and disqualify myself, and somebody come to me and welcomed me and shared with me and gave me the feeling that I did belong, and now becoming a part of rather than apart from, I can be at that door and I can say welcome, and I can invite that person to sit down and be a part of and have an opportunity to put change into their life, where before we didn't even have that opportunity. You know? So I really don't know how to tell anybody else to be a part of, but all these things that I've said have been experiences in my recovery, and they're things that I experience on a daily basis, and they're things that have helped me to grow and helped me to change. And this is what it's all been for me, is putting change into my life, taking chances. And if I'm not out there and I'm not mingling with the rest of us, and I'm not trying, I'm not growing. And when I'm not growing, I'm dying. And I died so many years out there. And I want to live today, and I want to be part of it, you know. And I don't have to even be successful, you know. Just let me be in the game. Let me join in the race. You know, let me be part of, you know. Thank you for letting me share today.
Our next speaker is Jay from Hartford City.
Hi family, my name's Jim Maddock. Hi Jay. Well, wind stole my thunder. Well, I gotta agree with everything Lynn had to say. And growing into this fellowship and growing out of myself was finding out what this a part of meant. And the whole thing for me was finding out how I could make my personality, because I couldn't do without it. It had to be part of me just as much as any other aspect of myself, a part of Narcotics Anonymous in spite of myself. And that was a real eventual growing experience. I learned unconditional love being shown to me by being a part of. And when I seen myself getting in the way and growing apart from because of personalities, and I talk about my own personality, then I got real sick, and I had to really look at what I was, where I was, and exactly where I was going. And the people loved me enough to let me know exactly where I was, what I was doing, and where I was going in a loving way. And many times, you know, I had to have these awakenings because of my growing apart from. But it was growth I needed. It was like any growth effort. There's pain with growth, and learning how to share with people, learning how to trust, learning how to give back that unconditional love that was given to me, and a lot of this had to do with service work for me. I found that I had to be a part of, in a service position, giving back to Narcotics Anonymous what it gave me. And I could never do that because it had given me my life, period. It had given me something that I had tried to give away so many times. So it was an interesting situation. And growing with this fellowship, or growing, I should say, into this fellowship, and getting past my own self and getting past my own stuff, and working on my own issues, and finally figuring out that, you know, this was a we program, you know, not an I program, and this was a family for me, you know, more than the family I'd ever had before. I learned how to be a kid again by being a part of, you know, learn how to accept myself and laugh at myself. For me, I have to be a part of, if in not one point or another. Today, I'm not so much involved with service work as I have been in the past, but that's right now. And for the last couple of months, I've had to slack off a little bit to finish up some schooling, and thank God the biggest part of that's behind me now. This nature of myself is the addiction in myself, and growing to an understanding of the addict in me, and growing to an understanding of how I need this fellowship, because I have to be taught this yet today, how I need this fellowship. I have to be a part of, and I have to be here in these rooms, and I have to be at meetings, and I have to listen to people tell my story in their own lives, you know, to hear my inner soul saying, yeah, that's me, you know, that's exactly where I am or I was. And if I'm not a part of, I'm becoming away from, you know, I'm drawing away. I'm being back into my own stuff again. If I'm not there to see me in meetings as that addict in me comes in off the street hurting, you know, pretty soon I'm going to be back out there and be apart from. So I have to be a part of these meetings. In God's time, I have to be part of the service structure of this fellowship. And I haven't gotten involved with any convention committees in a long time. And I don't envy those that are, because I've been there. It's like, yeah. There's a lot of growth that happens in convention, and most of it's called pain. And today I like to enjoy Narcotics Anonymous by being a part of, and every time I get involved with something like this, my personality gets out there big time, and I draw apart from. But as I go in this recovering aspect and learn this unconditional love that you people give me so freely, and give that back, you know, it draws me more and more into this fellowship. And my family keeps expanding every one of these I attend, or every time I get involved with any kind of service. I'm grateful to be here, and I'm grateful that I was asked to share here today. I'm going to shut up and let you people talk and tell me some more about my own stuff. Thank you.
Thanks, Jim. Before we open the floor for sharing, I need to remind everyone that you are being taped. If you wish not to be taped, please let me know so that we can turn the taping machine off. I'm Scott. I'm an addict. I've been pretty much sweating this ever since I found out what workshop this was going to be. I have been going through a really rough time in my recovery where I just ain't feeling connected to anything, you know, and when I got clean, I came here, and the love and the things that I felt in fellowship really overwhelmed me. I'd like cry all the way to meetings because I knew it was going to be really great, and then after the meeting I would just cry all the way back home because it just overwhelmed me, and I had never experienced anything like that. And I'd always really kind of searched my whole life for something like that. When I found it, it tore me up. It was really painful. And the last couple of months I've gone through a really hard time, and I've gotten away from the fellowship a little bit, you know, and I went to AA, find out that I'm an addict, you know, that's not my bag. I really didn't feel connected there, so that's why I came here this weekend, you know, was to try and get some of that back that I felt when I first got clean, and to feel a part of again.
We love you, Scott.
Thanks. I'm grateful to be clean, and that's all I have. Open up the floor for sharing.
Hi family, I'm Chuck. I'm a grateful recovering addict today. Being a part of, you know, I've gone through some very rough times myself this past month. I lost somebody that I love very dearly, and you know, I moved all the way out to Arizona from Michigan, and you people in the fellowship are really something else, because you definitely made me feel a part of. You know, I went out there, these people don't know me from Adam, and they hugged me, they said, welcome, you're home. You know, and that makes me feel a part of something besides the dope man's pocket. You know, and that's something that I really need to do. I need to be a part of something. When I first come through the doors, I did service work, I made the coffee, you know, I waited for them hugs. I wanted to be the first one there at the meeting because I seen the smiles, and I seen all the people that was enjoying recovery, and it really helped a lot for me to have the willingness to get there to make the coffee, to stay late and help clean up. Because I had that desire to stay clean. I didn't want to use anymore. And the people around the program definitely helped me to feel wanted, to feel needed, and to feel a part of something. And when I was out in Arizona, the people out there, I mean, they knew that I had lost a loved one. And this one gentleman said, "Chuck," he says, "I'm very greedy." He says, "This is a very selfish program." He says, "I don't want you to go back to Michigan. I want you to stay here with us." You know, and I explained to him that I had to and everything. And he says, "Well, I don't want you to go by yourself." He says, "I've got to go to the New York convention. So why don't you wait 2 weeks and I'll drive up there with you." You know, and that really touched my heart. You know, the man would go from his home all the way 1,100 miles driving to help somebody that he doesn't even know, that he's only seen at 4 or 5 meetings. That's unconditional love that keeps bringing me back to this program. I get back to Michigan, and the people that's in the program, I didn't have any place to stay. And 2 people that I know very much in the program and I love very dearly in the program said, "You can stay at my house. Don't worry about having any place to stay. When you get into town, you come and see us, and you can stay here." And I'm trusted today, you know, because of the service work and because of the way that I've worked the program. I've worked it into my life. The way that you people have taught me how to be and who to be. You know, and I'm very, very grateful for that. My sponsor seen the pain that I was in and knew of the problem and said, "We're coming to the convention in Indiana this weekend. You want to go?" And at first, I said no. You know, I said, "I don't know," because I don't have the funds. And I really didn't want to come because I wanted to put myself on that pity pot. I wanted to feel sorry for what has done happened to me. I wanted to blame everybody around me for what has happened to me. And I ended up saying, yeah, that's where I belong. I need to be with people that's in recovery, that honestly do care about what goes on in Chuck's life, about what goes on in Chuck's head and heart. And that's you people, my family. And I'm very grateful that I am here, because I do feel a part of. I really do. I feel a part of something that is so special in my life today that it helps me to grow. It helps me to love other people and my children. My children told me, "Dad, you need this. You go down there and you have a good time." And I haven't seen them in a month, but they knew that Dad needed to go to this convention because they love me and they don't want Dad to die. And thanks to you people, I don't have to die today. If nobody's told you today that they love you, I'm telling you all I love you very much. Thanks for letting me share.
I'm an addict. My name is Leah. Hi, everybody. I tend to not want to share at conventions, so part of it is like get my butt up and come share. All I know is that before I came to NA, I always felt like an outsider, and then when I got here, I found a place that I belonged, and you know, that sense of coming home. And I also have learned over the last, whatever the years in recovery I've had, that that's something I do. I try to make myself seem like an outsider, and no matter what it is, you know, I end up creating that kind of dynamic. I do a lot of marketing for the business that I'm in, and I sometimes have to do what I call reality checks. I call a girlfriend or a friend and just say, can you listen to this letter? Because without even meaning to, I create this dynamic that I'm an outsider, and today, I'm not an outsider. I belong. Anywhere I choose to put my butt, I belong. This has to be the hardest time that I've been through in recovery, and I have a few 24 hours, and I'm like I'm such a smart gal, because I'm like, isn't it supposed to get easier the more time you have? And it just gets different, you know, and it gets different, and I'm constantly being reminded that I'm not in the driver's seat because my higher power is the one driving. Another thing is that I shared it at a function about 1.5 years ago, and after that I didn't feel like I belonged in NA anymore, and it wasn't the joyous experience that I had hoped it would be. But I gotta tell you, NA can go on without me, but I can't go on without NA. It's real basic, you know, it's really basic. So, in this hard time, people are like, are you going to meetings? Yes. You know, do you have a sponsor? I asked a woman to be my sponsor again, so I get on the phone to my sponsee. I'm like, I got a sponsor again. Yeah, you got a grand sponsor. So I'm part of the process again, you know, I'm part of the cycle. And she told me to do something, and like 2 days later I call her with the results of doing this thing, you know. I'm a little scattered because, you know, sleeping is not really an option, it feels like here. You know? There's like a lot of coming and going in the lodges and stuff, you know. But the one thing I also want to say is I'm thinking about moving to another city, you know, and I can go anywhere in this world, and I have meetings, I have, you know, instant friends. You know, anybody who moves to another city, it takes at least a year, 1.5 years to make new friends. I mean, I can go anywhere, and I am a part of. I mean, I went to Mexico, and I found meetings, you know. I have a girlfriend who's a travel agent, and she sent me on my first vacation last year in recovery, a big-time vacation, you know, to Mexico, and she knows what I'm about, and I'm like, she sent me to a place where it's like all you can eat and all you can drink. I walk in, I'm by myself, right, on vacation, it's like, you want the margarita? No, I don't want a margarita, but I'll have a glass of water, and so I was like squirrely, I was nuts. You know, I was like, I need to go be around recovering people. And there was a place in Mexico for me to go and to be safe and to talk about it. And then I found people in recovery that I could hang around with who weren't like, you know, wasn't about like the drinking and the eating. And so anyway, I mean, it's a gift. It's a gift. And all I got to do is show up and not use one day at a time. Thanks.
Thanks, Leah.
Hi family, I'm an addict named Marie.
Hi, Marie.
I don't know, I like the topic a part of instead of apart from. I don't know, coming into the fellowship, I was what you call a double bubble at one time. I was going to both fellowships, and it was kind of hard for me to share at the other fellowship because of the fact that they were not recovering addicts, and when I would share, I could only share to an extent. So as another addict just got through talking about was coming home and feeling at home and feeling a part of, and I knew that was a transitional stage for me I was going through, and I'm grateful for the program of Narcotics Anonymous. You know, it got me to where I'm at today, and And I'm not only in one fellowship, I'm in another one called the Human Race, you know. And being in Narcotics Anonymous taught me how to be a human again, how to be a part of that society, you know. I had to go through a lot of things, you know. I just got my children home, and thanks to Narcotics Anonymous, and it took me a long time for that, you know. Instead of arguing with DCFS and the judges and workers and this and that and therapy and everything I had to go through, you know. I didn't have to do a damn thing, but I know I needed to do this. I needed to get clean. I needed to stay clean. I needed to be around a lot of recovering people, and I'm grateful for this. You know, I am truly blessed because the people that I came in contact with, it was hard for me to make friends. The only friends I had is anybody who had whatever, and that's it. You know, and a lot of the friends were just male friends. I didn't know how to communicate with any other female. You know, that was a lot of competition. You know, and that was apart from, and I was afraid, and I couldn't communicate with anybody who was an authority figure, you know. And today I know, just like, I mean, coming into the room of Narcotics Anonymous, any meeting, I drop the label of who I am. I know I'm an addict, and I know everybody around me is an addict. No matter what you do outside of the meeting or where you go, where you're coming from, we're all addicts. Black, white, yellow, purple, green, whatever, we're all addicts, you know, and that's beautiful to feel that way, and I could come and share and give it away, you know. I could say whatever I want, I could say where I'm going through, what I'm going through. Oh man, it's a beautiful program, and I could wish that I could put what I know, the knowledge that I have or whatever, and it's a lot of work, but it's simple, you know. It's very simple. The 12 steps and the traditions is very, very simple. You know, and it applies work, but it's good. I need that tough love when I first came in, you know, and it was hard for me to get that too. I couldn't listen to anybody. I was powerless, you know, all of that. And today I'm a part of that service work, you know. I like to help other people anyway, so I had no problem with that, you know, and it's good to do service work. And like another addict just got through sharing about, somebody trusts me, somebody trusts me with their money. Somebody trusts me to take that money to area, not spend it on my personal needs, but take it up there, get the literature, get this and get that, and go back to the meetings. Or share what's going on at the meetings. And that's beautiful that someone trusts Marie to do that, you know. And it's not just me no more, it's we, you know. And the meeting that I'm a GSR for, that I do service with, is a lot of people. And it's like all these people that trusted me, you know, and it's rough, and the newcomers in it, we need to do that. And I like for anybody that's newer than me that comes in the rooms that don't, you know, because I felt like I wasn't going to give it away. I wasn't going to share it with anybody. These are all bullshit and this and that, and I ain't going to tell you shit. You're probably going to go get high afterwards, and, you know, stuff, that attitude, that negative attitude. Today I don't have that, you know, and I don't focus on person, and I used to focus on personality big time. I ain't going to that meeting because I don't like this person. I don't like that, you know, but today I don't even look at the individual. It's, you know, the message. I listen to the message, not the messenger today. And that was hard for me to get through that. It was hard for me to get through a lot of that stuff. I couldn't. Wow, man, you all taught me how to live, and that's what it is about, living life on life's terms. And I've been through a lot of turmoil in my life, but you know what? I didn't use. Boy, the stuff I go through, and I reflect on it, it's like, I didn't use about that today. And I mean, I would use about just waking up, you know, but, you know, it's totally different, you know, like I went through a few deaths, family members, and, you know, my kids' friends, and stuff like that, you know, just a lot of things, you know, stuff like that. I would use it about all kinds of craziness, you know, being homeless and stuff like that. Oh, well, fuck it, I'm out there anyway, but, you know, not today, you know. Yeah, I put a step in it, you know, I do what I need to do, and you all taught me that. I come in here and I listen to everybody's experiences, and that's what teaches me. You all tell me what to do and what not to do. Today I take suggestions. I have a sponsor, and my sponsor sure gives me paperwork, and I'm one who I don't like to read or write, but I know those are the necessary tools that keep me clean. Coming into the meetings, you know, sitting and listening and giving it away, you know, it's so freely given to me, and that's what I love about it, because I could freely give it away, and it's just a beautiful feeling to, like another addict just shared about, not knowing anybody from Adam. This is my first time at this convention. It's so peaceful, it's so serene. I have all my children here with me today, and they're just everywhere, and it's like, you know, I don't have to worry because you are watching them out there, you know. It's like, oh my God, you know, this and that, you know, but I don't feel that sense of being worried about them, and that's a good feeling too, you know, being a part of, you know, I have faith in someone else. other than my higher power. I have faith in all of y'all, and that's a good feeling, you know. It's just beautiful being here, and I got this serenity. It feels good too that I can bring my kids here, and it's like I can give it away too. I don't know. It's just, I don't know. It's a great feeling. I'm an addict named Marine. I'll keep coming back.
Thanks, Marine.
I'm an addict and my name is April. Hi, family. I decided to come to this workshop because I just had like a little bout with my supervisor at work. And the women on my job, they're real vicious. You know, they like to get promotions and they don't mind kicking you in the process. And one thing the fellowship has taught me is that I don't have to fight for anything. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. And if it doesn't happen, then I'm okay with where I'm at. I don't have to struggle in any aspect of my life to attain anything as far as a promotion or whatever. I do the best I can, and then whatever I get as a result, then that's mine. And I remember telling my supervisor she was getting ready to hire this girl, and I was having a problem with it because she has that same type of personality as these other 6 women. And you know, I told her, I said, I feel like I'm left with wolves, you know, and that's hard for me to function on my job like that. And I have to always be so careful. And I said, you know what? I need to just focus on being a part of and not a part from. And I just said that like 3 days ago. You know, and so that's why I decided to come to this particular workshop, because I wanted to hear what you fellow addicts had to say in regards to that. It's a constant struggle for me. I'm not there yet, you know. I told an addict in here this morning, or just not too long ago, Lynn, I think, I feel like sleeping. That's something that I do to be apart from. You know, that's a habit that I have. He said, well, just think about, you know, being awake, you know. And, you know, and that's what I needed to hear, because I was ready to run. I was ready to go back to the room and just sleep. So I'm constantly learning and trying to process how to feel a part of. It's not always easy. You know, I suffer from the unique syndrome. There's nobody that's been through what I've been through in life. But every time I go to a meeting, every time I share my heart, I always get something back that tells me I'm not alone. I do not have to do this alone. It's a we fellowship. You know, it's a we program. And I'm real thankful for that. And I'll pass.
Thanks, April.
I'm Anthony Mike. I have a part of, not a part from. Doesn't matter where I'm at, what I'm doing. When I first get there, I feel like, you know, I can show you that I belong, you know, and everything. And then once I do that, I don't feel I'm a part of no more. I feel that, you know, you kind of get sick and tired of me being this. I got this personality problem and everything. I have to deal with that now, but I'm aware of it now. It's kind of, you know, all of a sudden, surprise, you know. I have this strange habit of going to conventions and I don't feel a part of. You know, I have all these 6,000 addicts, and I feel like I was at the World Convention as a 6,000 recovering addicts in the same room, but I feel I'm not a part of these people. And I can walk up to any one of them and get a hug and have no problem. But I don't feel like I'm a part of, because I don't know, because part of it is my speech problem. I have a hard time pronunciating sometimes, and when I get going talking, I talk too fast. I can understand me, but you can't understand me, and most people won't say what do you say. They won't slow me down, so I keep on talking and keep on misunderstanding me, and the people have a bad habit of saying, okay. You know, even though they don't understand a word I said, they say, yeah, okay. I mean, it happens. Everyone does it, you know. And so it's okay. They don't understand me. They don't want to see it. I'm sorry. I want to see that they don't understand me. That it's okay, and like I can understand myself. So, and then the part gets you is because they don't understand me. They don't want to go someplace else and not let me be a part of the part. I don't know. It's something that I feel, and it's something that I know it's there. But I come to these meetings, and I come to the meetings because I feel a part. I felt for the first time in my life after I started coming to meetings that I felt that I could be a part of. It says that you gotta accept me for unconditional love. It says that in the books. We read about that, and you have to accept me so I can be this who I want to be, and everything. As long as I don't use, and I tried to do it and use, but it didn't work. But as long as we don't use, and I will learn to be, I'll learn to change me, because I gotta start with me. I'm the problem. I mean, that's what I feel. I'm the, it's not you all's problem, it's my problem. But I want to blame it on you all, and you do this, you do this because of this, and then because I want to blame it on you all and everything. But when I first came to recovery, they said, my first convention was MCC 7. Okay, and they told me, you have to chase recovery like you chase your drugs. And so I did my drugs for 20 years, and so I know how to do that. So I just went all emphasis and chasing recovery and everything. And I always did service work and all kinds of stuff, and I felt I'm a part of then. But I've been getting out of doing service work now, so I guess I need to get back to the answers right coming out of my mouth. Is I need to get back doing service work. That's the answer I need to. I don't know what it is. Just I don't know what else to say, so I'll be quiet. Thank you very much.
My name is Gwen Lemonade. Hi, Gwen. I feel like a part of today. I did something that I didn't think I'd ever do in my life. I became a big sister. Kind of feels good because the anticipation of the process, and there is a process. I mean, they even went back into that part of my life, my addiction, and they asked questions about it. And I didn't have anything to hide. It felt good to be able to talk about something that happened to me and not be ashamed of it, And it's funny how they find those things out, because I wrote on the application, they asked about service organizations that you're part of, and I put NA, and that's all I put. So somehow they found, someone knew what NA stood for, So who knows, there must be somebody else in that program that knows Narcotics Anonymous. You never know. Being a part of today, Narcotics Anonymous gave me that opportunity. Because when I first came around, I was not a part of, and I made myself that way. So I had to keep coming around these tables and around you people to learn who Gwen was before I could become a part of, And now I'm glad to be a productive part of society today. It makes me feel good. I have a good job. I've obtained things in life that I never would have gotten had it not been for Narcotics Anonymous, Just coming to the meetings, being around people, because people is what life is all about, really. Just like Narcotics Anonymous, recovery is what life is about to me today. I don't know, I came into recovery years ago, and my daughter was going away to college. Her first year, my first year in recovery, her first year in college. And we kind of walked through it together, And that's being a part of, Because before I had come into recovery, she had given up on me. She just told me, you do what you got to do. I know I'm going to do what I got to do. This is a 17-year-old talking to me like this. I'm supposed to be grown. But your age doesn't really mean anything. It's all in what you have in your head. So in other words, we taught each other about life, to be a part of, not apart from, Narcotics Anonymous, I call it Life Today, because without it, I don't think I'd be living. You know, there's some of us that know that if we go back out, we won't make it, you know, and I'm one of those people. If it wouldn't be the drugs, it'd be the lifestyle, you know. I've had people in recovery go back out and they didn't make it back, you know. And that's a bad feeling to have a friend, because to me, I don't know all of you people, but you're part of a family now, you know, Narcotics Anonymous. I don't remember names too well, but I do remember faces. And when I miss a face, and I hear about that face missing, you know, what happened to it, you know, it's like a part of me is gone too. And I don't know, I don't have a lot to say, but I just felt like a part of, I felt like I needed to be in this workshop today, you know, and I come in and I hear you sharing, you know, I've lost a loved one in my life too, also, you know. I could have 11 years clean, but I relapsed. Right now I have 5 and I feel good, you know. I'm back where I belong anyway, you know, I knew where to come back to. It's the best feeling I ever had in my life, just to be in Narcotics Anonymous, you know. You knew where to come back to, you know. At that time I didn't know. I knew, but I didn't use it. But there's a difference. You're using it. Keep using it. And this is my 2nd year. I call this a retreat, not a convention. You know, because I leave here. Last year I left here and I felt so full. You know, and up until a week ago, my anticipation of getting back here was so great. You know, I was sitting at my desk at work Thursday, and it was like I was so antsy. You know, I was ready to go. You know, to get back here. You know, and I got here. I got disappointed when we didn't have a room last night, but once we found one, I was okay, you know, and I'm okay now, you know. The spirituality here is just overwhelming, you know, just walking around. It's the freedom to be able to do and be yourself. I'll keep coming.
Hi. I'm an edit. My name is Larry. Oh gosh, the weekend started. I think this topic really has a lot to do with my daily life. You know, not about just where I come from or just looking back and finding the ways of listening and just becoming willing and just having the desire and recognizing what I wanted was a new way of life was really a life-changing experience for me. And recognizing it today in my life, you know, every moment. I recognize every moment that, you know, what I see might not be Memorex. You know, it might not be exactly, you know, what's going on inside of another person or what might be going on inside of me. And I learned in here that the attitude of indifference. I learned that anytime I start putting my, you know, somebody was saying something about self-will earlier, and it kind of sprang out to me because I like to celebrate my life today, because for so many years I never got to celebrate any of my life. I was so busy running away from who I really am and just in trying to stand up for the image that I was, you know, standing up for the image. But I had so much pain going on inside of me that I wouldn't let you get it, you know, I wouldn't give myself a break and let you in. And Lynn was talking about something about just having somebody to cry with, you know, and I really need that, and that really inspired me. You know, that was like so inspirational when you said that. You know, because I'll tell you, you know, I'm not a small person, and I've always judged other when I first came to this fellowship, I judged you by your size, by your color, by, if you've been to prison, if you had long hair, if you had, I was so judgmental. Today's acceptance, and forgiveness, and just being grateful for who I am, and man, but it didn't come that way. It came through doing service work, learning how to be a part of, and having that shoulder, having a shoulder, somebody to cry with, and I had to get past my image and my ego. I had to get past, the tattoos on my arms, and I had to get past, what I thought other people, because I felt that I was so vulnerable, and so, like, I didn't want you to touch me. I didn't want you to really know who I am, because if you did, you might not like me. You might not really like who Larry really is if you really knew me. And I felt so unique because of that. I almost uniqued myself out the door. See, I didn't think that you had any pain in you. Nothing that could compare to the pain that I've been through. See, so I kept uniquing my way away from this. I learned today that I have to keep that, being a part of in my daily experience. Every morning, I pray and I meditate. Now, if I get too far away from that, where am I? For me. This is just for me. NA, Narcotics Anonymous, is a part of my life. It's kind of like like drugs were just being a symptom of my disease. It's kind of like NA is being a part of my spirituality. See, there's something that's in my life, and if I do not partake in it, if I don't actively, for me, if I know something and I know it can help and I don't do anything with it, I'm just expecting different results, the same results. I don't know. I know when I got here that, I remember when I chaired my first meeting, and I'm sitting there, and there's like this little paper here, and my sponsor's sitting next to me, and he said, it's time for you to sponsor, to chair your first meeting. And I'm sitting there saying, man, I ain't doing it. I ain't doing it. I just ain't gonna do it. And I mean, that was like after a couple of months, and I just still couldn't do it. I mean, I shook through it, and everybody's telling me, we'll love you until you love yourself, until you have enough energy to start loving yourself. And I have to remember that. I have to remember that. And you guys are, this workshop's a lot about being fearless in my attempts. And I am deserving. I'm deserving of life. Because, I ran from it because I never really deserved life in the first place. I mean, why am I here? I'm such a screw up. I've done nothing but bring pain to other people's lives, and, and bring pain to my own life, and all this. And I'm not deserving. And I got a thinking problem here that wants to kill me. And just because I get clean for a little while doesn't mean it's going to go away. But if I'm tuned in with my spirituality, maybe it can be arrested. And it's usually when change is involved. And if I'm fearless in my attempts, I can be a part of instead of apart from. Thanks.
Hello, family. I'm Addict called Howard. Truly grateful to be at another Narcotics Anonymous meeting, and truly grateful to be back here at Camp Matt. You know, truly is a retreat. This is some of those things I wrote on a list that I didn't write, but it was appeared to me because I'm a part of today. I'm a part of the family Narcotics Anonymous, and anytime I feel mentally that I'm not a part of and apart from, in my experience, I was back into my active addiction. You know, and today I want to live, so I'll try to be a part of. It's a lot of benefits to being a part of, because I can look at that in a whole lot of different ways today. I used to have a one-track mind. I could hear one thing and apply it to just one particular principle in my own mentality and my consciousness. But today I got an open mind. I can use it in a whole lot of different ways. I know today I have to stay a part of the principles of this program, you know, and try to use them in my daily life. And also stay a part of the fellowship, because that's a daily reminder for me that I am an addict, you know. And I just want to share a few of my experiences that I need to share. You know, every time I come to the retreat, it seems like something going on in my life, you know. I mean, and that's what it's about, you know. Because I know today that I have to make decisions, I have to do things, because I was the most indecisive person from the beginning. I didn't want to make a decision. Everybody had to make them for me, you know. And that's what change occurs. Today I have to be responsible and accountable for any decision that I do make. I experienced some powerlessness last week. You know, I was locked up in jail with handcuffs. You know, that's real powerless, you know. When you can't really do anything, you can't move, you know. I mean, I was confined, you know. And it was a decision that I made, you know, and I had to be accountable for, you know. And by me being arrested and being arrested with a group of people, and they all had drug charges, I didn't have drug charges, but I was a part of the whole investigation. And it was like, I got real grateful that I'm a part of Narcotics Anonymous. Because I know today, deep down inside my heart, if I wasn't a part of Narcotics Anonymous, I would have had a drug case too. I mean, it's just that simple, you know. And I got real grateful, you know. I got real grateful. You know, when they went through my belongings, they found my NA text and a Just for Today, you know. And it made me take a real good look at myself, you know. And I have to continually take a good look at myself, you know, on where I'm going and what I'm going to do. You know, I still deal with fear and faith, you know. I still deal with self-obsession. I still have character defects, you know, but I'm still human, you know. And I have to realize this, because, see, I can still beat me up about things that I do, and I don't have to use a drink or a drug to do that, you know. And I needed this retreat even more this year, you know, simply because what I just went through, you know. And I was talking to one of my, I call them blue ribbon people in my life, you know. I like to label them like that because it's another ultimate weapon, you know. And he was like, oh, you really got something to tell them this year, huh? And we laughed about it. And it's good to be able to laugh and mean it today, you know. And to smile about it, because today I know that the God of my understanding, and I choose to call my higher power God, when the door closed, the window just may open for me, you know. And I have to really believe that, you know. And I get that faith. And I didn't have that when I first came in the doors of Narcotics Anonymous. This is something that was in this process that you all was telling me about, you know. Because when I first came around, I didn't want to hear anything about a God, you know. That was the last thing I wanted to hear. He was a rotten God to me, you know. But by me keep coming and developing a relationship with a loving and caring God, like you all taught me in these rooms in Narcotics Anonymous, I started to feel a little bit better about that God that I know is within me and each and every one of you, you know. And it gives me that hope. And I know when I get that hope, I can get happy, you know, and I can get
You know, they say hope is when you can believe in something, you know, and then happiness occurs, and then people can excel, you know. You can go on with your life and be a better person, you know. And I know today, the biggest room in my house on the inside is the room for improvement. So I got to keep working, you know. I got to work the program, I got to work the steps, because this is my life, you know. And by doing so, I have to be a part of the recovery process, not just the fellowship, you know. I have to continually work the steps. And that's what I got out of this particular topic, and thank you for letting me share.
Thank you. Does anybody else have anything to share? Okay, can we close with a group hug and a prayer?